Oh my god, guys. Hi, I'm Luida, but you can call me Lou, because some people don't know how to get my name right. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about the fetishization of Sapphic women or just queer women in general. Just because, it's something that I'm very interested in. And if you want more content like this, where, I give like little mini video essays or whatever, or just like talk about random things, then, you should like, subscribe, and do all the good stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because it boosts the algorithm. But let's get into it. So this video is going to split up into 3 parts. So first I'm going to be clarifying the terms and basically what I'm going to be talking about, setting like stage for what it is that I'm going to be speaking on. And then the second part will be examples of how women are, or Sapphic women to be specific, are fetishized in the media, or just in society, in media, and in general. And then the last part will kind of be like, what can we do to change? Because I can't just point out a problem and then not give some kind of solution, you know what I'm saying? And I don't have all the answers, obviously. I will have all my sources linked down below, hopefully, because I'm a graduating IB student. So yeah, I'm gonna leave the sources that I use below in case you want to go check it out yourself, or want to see anything that I reference on, and whatever and so forth. And yeah, so that's it. So first off, we're gonna clarify, what does it mean to fetishize someone? So what does it mean, like, as a whole? So I did like a dictionary, and then I also had one from one of the websites. I can't remember which website it was, but again, everything will be down below, so you can like check that out. And based on what I collected, what it means to fetishize someone is to have sexual interest of an object or aspects of a person's body, identity, or relationship struggle, which in turn belittles them to that certain thing. So what does this mean for queer women? So for queer women, this would be being fetishized for the fact that you like other women. So that would be like your identity, or your relationship with another woman could be fetishized. And so that would be like, in turn, the relationship structure, sorry. And of course that in turn belittles you because it reduces you to that certain thing, you know what I mean? Okay, so yeah, so why am I even speaking about this? So I wanted to speak about this because I feel like in society we're in a point where, like, I don't know, it just feels like people say that, queer women are far more accepted in terms of socially and whatever and whatnot. And I think it is something that we need to touch on, because most of the time women aren't, like, of course there's homophobia, but the homophobia manifests itself in different ways, which is usually with fetishization and the hypersexualization of queer women. In turn, like, they're not actually respected, they're being fetishized, which is not the same thing, you know what I mean? So 100% that is something that we need to talk about, because it's not fun being fetishized. It's not fun or cute or anything to be seen or belittled in such a way. So even though queer women aren't necessarily being discriminated against, like, verbally, this is still a form of discrimination against them. So I think this also has to do in turn with our sexualized, like, heteronormativity as a whole. And if you want to see what heteronormativity is, I do have a short series about that on this YouTube channel, so you can go check that out. But basically it does have some roots from heteronormativity, which is this idea that everyone's straight, and compulsory heterosexuality, and that women inherently should like men. So with this being said, obviously most, or not most, but some relationships between women can be sexualized and just not deemed valid because there isn't a man there, or there isn't a replication of what we see in a heterosexual relationship. And like an example of that would be like two feminine women, or two femmes is what we call in the community. So when two femmes come together and they have a relationship, it's usually not taken seriously socially, because in of it themselves, they don't, like, society doesn't see them as gay. So it's a lot harder for them. And then also when they are together, they usually have like some kind of maybe like they feel pressured to have to show that they're in a relationship, because people, by just seeing them together is not enough. And because they are two feminine women, it just feels like it's not real in the eyes of society, because it's not something you would expect, you know what I mean? Because again, the heteronormative standard kind of put in our mind that there needs to be a masculine and a feminine person. And so again, with this added layer of fetishization and hypersexualization of women that I'm going to be speaking on today, it will clarify those things. And again, and this could be, and it doesn't necessarily only affect femme women that are in a relationship. It affects everybody in the LGBTQ community, or specifically Sapphic women in the community, because at the end of the day, there are women. But I do want to get clear that I'm talking about Sapphic women just because that's the area that I have more expertise on. But yeah, this does not, and I say Sapphic women just being women that like other women, but you know, within these identities there are nuances. So don't take this as, you know, I'm just trying to say I'm very inclusive, I'm very open-minded, but this is just the group that I'm focusing on today. So now we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty, and the nitty-gritty will be about the manifestation of the fetishization of women and hypersexualization of them in real life. Let's go. Okay, so welcome to part 2. You know, I switched up my hair a little bit because why not? And yeah, so basically for this section, we're going to be talking about how fetishization of women is manifested in society. And actually the inspiration for this video, or like the arc for this video, was when I was watching Perfect Match. I watched Perfect Match the first season. Yeah, the first and second season, but specifically the first season, when Francesca and Carousel start making out in the pool. Yeah, they start making out in the pool whilst Francesca had a relationship or was matching with another woman. And Carousel had a boyfriend at the time, and they just started making out in front of everybody. And the boyfriend was kind of supporting it, being like, yes, babe, I support you and whatever and whatnot. And those two women were both bisexual women, and they are best friends, and they just decided, you know what, we're gonna start making out because yeah. And my thing is, honestly, I don't care, do whatever you want to do, but it does, like, this has such bad optics for queer people, because especially for bisexual women, that they can't, like, because they're bisexual, it means that they're like polyamorous or whatever, or that, you know, like, honestly, it just felt very disrespectful, because for one, Carousel is in a relationship with a man, and that's literally cheating. I'm gonna put it at that. It's literally cheating, because the fact that she was able to kiss Francesca and it was like nothing, and like nothing happened, it shows how invalid in society we take Sapphic relationships, because the fact that they were kissing each other was not a problem. But I swear to you, if it was Carousel kissing another man, or any of the other characters, any of the other people in the show, it would have been a problem. It would have been, I don't know how to feel about you, you know what I mean? So I don't understand why we don't have that same energy when it comes to women, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was really annoying. And the fact that her boyfriend is saying, no, yeah, I support you, whatever, it's giving very weird. It's giving you're fetishizing her, because why are you okay with this? Why? Because he even at the end, he was like, oh no, you know, we're always gonna be open, like our house is always open for you to come in and whatever and whatnot, basically saying that they could have a threesome, they could do whatever they want because he's fine with it. One thing is that if you're okay with it, okay. But the fact that they're both bisexual women doing this on a mostly heterosexual show that was targeted for heterosexual people, because literally the matches are for heterosexual people, the fact that both the bisexuals decided that they're going to start kissing each other, it just gave me very weird vibes. Because why are we doing that? Why are we acting like this? Did we not think of the bigger picture? But you know what? That's their relationship in their moment. Those are only my opinions. But then, like, following this, in season 2, a similar situation happened with a girl named Dom. But I really liked the way that she handled it, because his name was like, yeah, his name was Chris. And Chris was like, oh, okay, so you're like bisexual or whatever. Like, would you, like, basically it was just being very weird. He was just like, oh no, like, I remember, like, afterwards she started saying that he was kind of like using it and whatever. Like, it became a big thing. Like, he started centralizing the fact that she was bisexual so much, and it was like really annoying. And that was one of the reasons that she decided, like, I don't want you, which is duh, like, of course, you know what I mean. And she really, like, she brought it up to his attention. She was like, my sexuality is not a play toy. It's not, it just is, you know what I mean? And that's how it should be. But basically all this to say is that in media, whenever we want a woman to be attractive or more attractive or whatever, we start bringing in women, and then that relationship becomes something that we fetishize. And not we, the people, but we, like, as a society. For basically, when we look at Sapphic media, there's very scarce resources for queer people to go and watch, because of the fact that they're already Sapphic, and because of the fact that most of the stuff was written for the male gaze and not for the women who are actually a part of that identity. You know what I mean? And that gets very problematic, because people end up watching stories that do not relate with them. You know what I mean? That do not relate with them. And an example of this would be like, Blue is the Warmest Color. So it's basically a lesbian movie, but it's so tacky because, like, there's no real relationship. You know what I mean? There's really no real relationship. It just feels like, especially for, like, just so you have an idea of, like, what I mean. Whenever we have a romantic movie, you know, you get the plot line, you get the whatever, you start thinking about, like, how this person makes you feel, how, you know, all the good stuff. But in Blue is the Warmest Color, after the protagonist, whose name I can't remember, I'm so sorry, the protagonist looks at their lover, the first thing that she thinks of is sex. And once they actually do have sex, it's like a 7-minute long scene of them just straight fucking. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's kind of crazy to me, because to me it's just like, and based on what I was seeing as well, and I definitely felt this, is that it didn't like, when you were watching the film, you didn't feel the romance, like, you didn't feel the feeling. It was just like they were having sex just for the sake of it. And with this being said, also the director was a man. What is a man doing directing a lesbian film? What were we expecting? You know what I mean? It's just those type of things. And so much so, like, it was so problematic that the actors that were doing the scene even complained about how tedious it was to do this work, because it took 10 days to film the sex scene. One of the actors was basically complaining that she felt like she was a prostitute, and that the director, was abusing them because of the way, like, it's so crazy. It's actually so crazy, because it's like, you would just expect, like, just a regular schmegular romance. And other movies where this is, like, shown would be like below her mouth, it's a very sexual film. And even through like the posters, when I went to go find the film, look at the posters that were related to it. It's all very, very sexual. You don't see love. You just see women just what they want for the male gaze is just to have two attractive women be with each other for the sake of being with each other, and then in the end they're always going to end up with a man. And what really pissed me off, and blue was the warmest color, was that after all of that, the main character ends up with a man. So like, what did we do? It's a 2 hour, like almost 3 hour long film. It was just like, I don't know. Yeah. It's just a very complicated situation, because it's just like, what are we doing if we're just gonna have media that just sexualizes them? And another thing, with the sexualization of women, we know it works so well because on YouTube, on adult content sites, there's a plethora of content of just queer women, or not even queer women, straight women even. They just need two women together. Two women going at it for the sake of men, because who's gonna watch it? Men are gonna fucking eat that shit up. They're gonna eat it up. They're gonna like watch it like, oh my god, it's just so annoying. And it's just like, okay, this is what we've come to. And this stuff manifests itself within like real life, because if you see, whenever two women are together, it's something that's like celebrated by men, to the point where you can get free drinks at the bar if you kiss your best friend, or like you and your best friend, you can kiss each other and men will think it's cute. You can like make out, like women will make out in front of each other when they're drunk just to please other men, because you know it's funsies, it's all good and great, until you're actually a Sapphic person, and then it becomes a problem. You know what I mean? It's very sad. And this can be seen through music, especially, ooh girl, when it comes to music. An example would be Girls Want Girls by Drake. Girls want girls where I'm from. Like, you know, like that shit, like, you said that you're a lesbian girl, me too. Please shut up. Like, just shut up. What are you saying even? Like, I found that stuff so disrespectful, because it literally shows you in your face they don't like queer women. It doesn't exist. It's always there's gonna be someone to switch you up. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. And then even with Party Next Door, there's the new album P4. He has a song Uncontrol where he's like, oh no, or the girl's like talking to her friend. She's like, oh no, I just told him about my threesome, and now he wants to have one with me because he says I owe him one, and you're the only girl. Like, shut up. And he even has a song where he's like, oh, like in that same album where he's just fetishizing the fact that he has two women together. It's disgusting. Yeah. And then The Weeknd, Lost in the Fire, said you might be into girls, said you're going through a phase, keeping, like, come on now. Like, it's very graphic, it's very sexual. It was obviously meant to sexualize them, because what do you mean, like, why are we singing about this? You're a man. Get off the drug. Like, ugh. Anyways, and then just to show you the variety, there's also I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry. That's a problem. That song is a problem. I kissed a girl and I liked it. Hope my boyfriend don't mind it, or whatever the she says. It's just like, what are we doing? Moment of silence for you. And it's exactly what I was talking about with the whole carousel situation. It's literally the same thing replicate. What Carousel did is replicated in the I Kissed a Girl song, except Katy Perry is straight. Leave the queer community out of your music. If you are not queer, let it go. Let it go. And an argument might be like, oh no, but you know, there's still, but even if it's like, even if the media or whatever is like, you know, sexual or whatever, or overly hyperly sexual, you know, we still have Sapphic representation. And I'm of the opinion there shouldn't be any of this at all, in my opinion, but there has to be some kind of balance. Like, there's already a very thin landscape of Sapphic media, and a majority of it is all very sexual. What do we do with that? Because a majority of these characters don't have personalities. They literally, they're just objects for people to gawk at and just be like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that gets us anywhere. I think that people need to start, or we need to start vouching for more accurate representation, and instead of the breadcrumbs that we get just because the LGBTQ community already doesn't have a lot. And on that same note, I also mean more POCs included, just more inclusion, because it's also a very white landscape. Again, because attraction and how attractive you are plays role into this, and because we live in a society where the Eurocentric beauty standard is in play, of course we're gonna have two white women together doing the do. Like, what are we expecting? You know what I mean? Because that's just what happens. And with this can be reflected through society. Like I had mentioned, it makes queer women not valid, because once you go to have an actual relationship with a woman, it's being asked whether or not you're best friends, because best friends have this type of attitude of kissing each other, of hugging, like acting like your friend is your girlfriend. And it's just like, you know, the actual, like, I can't tell you how many times it's been like, oh no, like, you can see someone and say, oh no, yeah, this is like girlfriends, like, you know, platonic friends call each other, oh yeah, no, that's my girlfriend. And then when a queer woman does it and says, no, yeah, that's my girlfriend, it's like, is that your girlfriend, or is that just like your girlfriend, that's your bestie, you know what I mean? And it's really freaking sad that we've gotten to this point, because just like, we shouldn't be here. This should not be a problem, because simply existing as a queer person is not enough. Simply saying this is my girlfriend is not enough for some people, because it feels like they have to prove it. And when you're already in that said relationship, it's very hard to show affection to your partner, because you're gonna be thinking, what if men come up and gawk at us and start like you know, harassing us and doing all that stuff? Just like, it's very sad. It's very sad. And it's just like, it makes queer women's lives so much harder than it needs to, for no reason. We should not be here. Yeah, so it creates this image that queer women or queer relationships are solely for entertainment. And because queer women already don't have a lot of exposure in like the real world, depending on where you are, right? You may not see it at all. You may see it like a few times. But if you don't see it, like if you don't see queer relationships at all, and the only place that you see it is like in these types of movies or in adult content, like, of course you're gonna think that it's only like, it becomes like just a source of entertainment. So because it's only entertainment, if you were to see it in real life, it's gonna be like, oh no, it's whatever. It's for me. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's very sad. And the fact that this is also pushed a lot by media, if you see commercials, movies, Hustlers. I watched Hustlers today. I was like, the strip club, y'all do this stuff. If it's an if it's an adult content, of course it's just in the strip club. And it's in the strip club because the way that they were trying to seduce these men was by imitating or inducing that they are gonna have relationships with each other or intercourse with each other. And it's just like, well, this is who we are today. This is who we are today. Yeah. And again, men also get to feel more comfortable. And who wants men to feel comfortable? I'm just kidding. Men feel more comfortable because they feel like they can partake in these relationships because, again, at the end of the day, women are women. Heteronormativity is a thing. Point blank, period. So now I'm going to read like a quote from a website that really embodies what I've been saying. This misrepresentation can have a devastating impact on young queer people desperate to find a place of acceptance in society. Instead of feeling proud of their identity, many will feel uncomfortable, ashamed, and too afraid to embrace who they are for fear of being fetishized in a similar nature. So, this is where we're at today. So you have a better idea of what it means to be fetishized in the society that we are in as a Sapphic woman. Yeah, do not be fooled. This also happens in other sectors of the queer community, but again, I was focusing more on women, especially because women themselves are already very sexualized just for existing. And so yeah, I wanted to spread light on this because I feel like it's a very prominent issue here. Yeah. So that's it. Now let's go to part 3 where we can start brainstorming and thinking about some solutions to this problem. Welcome to part 3. I tried to do a little switch up. I don't have anything else to wear. That was all. That was it, guys. So we're in part 3. So for part 3, what is going to be our solution to this? And first of all, for this, I think the common problem is that, especially for queer media, we need more queer people in the writer's room. We need them there. We need them speaking, and we need them having input in what happens and what decisions should be made. I'm sorry, but I don't think any white men or just men in general should be in the space of making Sapphic media, because what would you know about Sapphic romance? And what are you doing there? What business does this concern you? You know what I mean? So let's start there. Let's start calling out this behavior, calling it out as it is, which is fetishy. It's weird. It's not okay. So let's let that go. And I think a beautiful example of what happens when queer people are in the writer's room is Watermelon Woman. It's a very cute movie. It speaks about a young film artist. She's a Black woman, and basically her search to look at another Black woman that was gay or closeted in the Harlem Renaissance or something like that. I can't really remember, but it was very beautifully done. You could tell, like, it's not that you can tell, but you can feel like it was made by someone that was a part of the community. And that is really important because we want those voices to be uplifted, because those are the people that we are talking about. You know what I mean? So great film, 100% recommend. I think Bottoms is a really great movie as well. I think it has very good queer representation. I don't know who made the film, so I can't quote myself on that, but let's go check really quickly. Emma Silgman. Yeah. Okay. Basically, it's a woman, which is, for me, is a lot better. I don't know if she's queer or not, but she's a woman. That's what we like to see. And yeah, we want to see more of those people in the writer's room doing the thing that we need to do. And also us as an audience, we need to make sure that we are calling people out on this behavior, encourage people to stop watching said movies. Again, I don't have all the answers, but I think it is something that we need to bring out. We need to talk more about. And I think we should encourage people that are not Sapphic to stop doing Sapphic things. For example, kissing your best friend and posting it. Yeah, I wouldn't post that. Stop. Excuse me. Stop calling your best friends, girlfriends, whatever. Let's just stop with that. It's not cute. Let's let it go. And yeah, and obviously right now I don't have all the answers, and this is definitely something that has to do with the people that are more inside than outside. And you know what? I also want to say there's nothing wrong with liking these movies as a queer person. There's nothing wrong with it. People like what they like. I know there's people that like blue is the warmest color and whatever and whatnot. And to some extent it is still representation, even though it may not be great. So it's okay to like it, but again, we do want to be vouching for better quality content instead of adult content for every single film that we have about queer women. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've been very anxious to speak about this topic because it's just been like scratching in the back of my mind. And yeah, so thank you. I'm Luida, and welcome back next time where we speak about something different. And yeah, and if you like this content, thank you. Go through all my social media, and there's way more from this beautiful face. And so yeah, kisses.